Okay, I ran out of room before I finished up, so I'll try to finish up this part on the cerebral hemispheres and then move on to some of the medial side of the brain, but I probably won't have enough time for all of that. So I was just finishing saying that there's kind of two names for these structures, like this red here and going over here is in terms of function, it's the motor cortex. And we're going to talk about that in class. Like it's directly going to kind of all the different parts of your body that are moving. This purple kind of line is the sensory cortex, and that's where you're essentially all the different sensations you're having all over your body of different touch is in different parts here. All right. In terms of just like all of these little bumps have names and we don't learn most of them, but like a sulcus, anytime there's a little line, there's a sulcus and there's a gyrus. And so this is the precentral gyrus. It's kind of in front of the central sulcus, which is right down the middle. And this back part is the postcentral gyrus. So you could say the sensory cortex is in the postcentral gyrus and the motor cortex is in the precentral gyrus. The two other things we didn't mention too much that at the end here is this is the lateral cerebral sulcus, so the thing that's going up and dividing really the temporal lobe from the frontal and parietal lobe. It's also called the Sylvian fissure. That was probably the name of the person who first named it, Sylvian fissure. So you hear both of those. You should really know both. And then down the middle, the longitudinal cerebral fissure. And so there really is a big division here. These two are not connected together, these two hemispheres. So this whole part is the longitudinal cerebral fissure. All right, now we'll go to the medial side of the brain. So we're going to pull these cerebral hemispheres apart and look inside. The first thing you can see in here is this orange area on both halves. We'll start with this half. This is the cingulate gyrus. All right, the cingulate gyrus, and this is the cingulate sulcus on top, the cingulate sulcus. All right, so the cingulate gyrus, that's part of the cerebral cortex. So again, that wrinkled part is all on the inside here too. This is the cerebellum. This is going to be the brainstem. We're going to talk about it. We're going to talk about this part of the brain later, but like on top of it, so all this part up here is still cerebral cortex, and this middle part here is called the cingulate cortex. And the bump is the cingulate gyrus, and the sulcus, the line going around, is the cingulate sulcus. All right. Then this right here, you're going to talk about this term again and again. This is called the corpus callosum. So here is right here, this is actually connected. So this looks like it's a structure here, but this is actually fibers that are running this way, like we've cut them in half. These are the fibers that actually connect the left and right hemisphere together, the corpus callosum. So here you can kind of see it a little better. This is the corpus callosum right here, and it's kind of connecting the two. The body of the corpus callosum is the middle part. The front is called the genu, this kind of part here, and this back part is called the splenium. And I always think G comes before S. So the genu is in front, the body is always kind of the body, and the splenium is in the back. All right. The fornix is, you can see it, well, you can see it on here. So it's kind of this top little part here. You can see there's kind of division there, and this top part here is the fornix. I'm going to show it in this one too. So this is the fornix up here. Okay, let me get this model and see if this is any better. A little better maybe. So in this model here, you don't see the cingulate cortex marked off, but it's marked around here. This white part here, this is the corpus callosum, once again. And then this white part down here, this is the fornix. This is what I'm talking about. So it's kind of my finger going right below it. That's the fornix. All right, so it's kind of an underneath little mark. Then the septum pellucidum is what's in between the corpus callosum and the fornix. So this tan area right there, and that's actually a very thin, like you can see in this model, you don't see it because it's a very thin layer, the septum pellucidum. So septum, again, it's kind of a dividing line in the middle, but it's this very thin layer, and behind it is one of the ventricles. So there's a space behind it that's fluid filled. All right, so in this model, this is the septum pellucidum. All right, so then I'm gonna stop there for a minute and do a quick little review, and then send and stop there. But so looking at this, what is this back yellow area called on both sides of the hemispheres? Occipital cortex. What is this area called going down here? Temporal cortex. And then this area, the purple, parietal cortex. And this whole area here, frontal cortex. All right, what's the dividing groove that's going right down here, all the way down between the red and the purple? That's the central sulcus. What's this line right here? There's another groove going this way. That's either the lateral sulcus, you could say lateral cerebral sulcus, or Sylvian fissure. All right, and what's the line going down in between the two hemispheres? So kind of this whole deep division between them. That's a longitudinal cerebral fissure. All right, which is the area that's red? What kind of area? Like, what's the function? Motor area. And the area that's purple? Sensory area. All right, we will, I think I'll stop there for make a new video.